everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany Benson, one part of Team Benson, and today I'm talking about the amazing medicinal herb lemongrass. So if you guys haven't used lemongrass, or if you guys are not growing lemongrass in your garden, you are truly missing out. I'm actually going to take you guys outside first because it's going to get dark here soon, and I want you guys to see how my lemongrass is growing in 102 degrees. Yes, that's right, it's still hot. We hit the record. We hit the 144 days of over 100 degrees. I mean, I feel like there were better records we probably could have strived for, but that's the one we hit. So I'm going to take you guys outside so you can see how my lemongrass is growing. Alright guys, I wanted to start outside just because the sun sets a lot sooner nowadays. So I wanted to get out here before it got too dark. But I want to show you guys the lemongrass, because the lemongrass actually is doing really well in the hottest part of my garden with no shade. So no shade cloth, no nothing, just full sun in the hottest part of my garden. And this includes the lemongrass start that I bought, and also the lemongrass starts that I made from, or that I grew from seed. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you guys that, just so you can kind of see how it's growing. So guys, this is my lemongrass, and as you can see, it's gotten really tall. It's now up above those planters, and it's not suffering at all from like sun skull. So when it comes to lemongrass, there are a couple different parts. There are, of course, the leaves that you can eat or you can use for tea, and my favorite part are the stalks. Now, of course, these stalks are not big enough yet. You want your lemongrass stalks to get pretty big. They'll get around like that thick, and then the very base of these are going to be edible once they get big enough. Now, this is my lemongrass that I bought as a start, and then as you can see, these ones over here are ones that I put in as seeds. So when I take you guys back inside, I'm going to talk about the different parts of the lemongrass that I use, because I use them differently for cooking, whether I'm cooking it or whether I'm drinking it for a tea, or using it for a sitz bath, or using it for hair or an astringent. We use it in different ways in different parts of the plant. Only the base of that plant is actually edible, where once you get it thick enough and you can peel back those leaves, usually about maybe a two-year-old plant, you can get the stalk, and then you can strip the leaves off of it and then chop up the very end of the stalk, and then you can use that as in soups, and you can eat that part of it because it's not going to be too woody and it's not going to be too tough. Right now my plant's too young to be able to use the stalks, so if I do use lemongrass stalks, I do purchase them from an Asian store. Now, lemongrass will get huge, so that is why that is not in my little bitty medicinal herb bed, because that thing would take over. It would be the entire little bed, and I wouldn't be able to fit anything else in it. And lemongrass is such an important medicinal plant to have that I want to have as much of it as I can. So I'm just going to continue to put it in a bigger pot and a bigger pot and a bigger pot as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and older and older and older. So now that I've shown it to you, it was 102 today, guys, so it's still hot. I'm going to take you guys inside and let's talk about what we can use lemongrass for, the health benefits of lemongrass, and then how to use it. It's insane how hot it is, and it's insane that that plant is actually surviving and thriving and growing with it being that hot. So I want to talk to you guys now about the health benefits of lemongrass. Now, before doing that, I always like to tell you guys I am just an at-home herbalist. This is how I live my life. This is how I protect my family and keep my family healthy. So when I'm giving you guys recommendations, I'm doing it because I personally use them, not because I am a professional herbalist. So I do use three major books: the herbal antibiotics, the herbal antivirals, and then also medicinal herbs. So I will link these books down below. A lot of you guys have purchased them from our Amazon link, which thank you very much. It is an affiliate link, but these are books that I consult for all of my medicinal purposes and that have helped me become a better herbalist when it comes to taking care of my family and keeping everybody safe. So with that said, I'm going to stick these over here and we are going to talk about this amazing herb of lemongrass. Now, this one I actually got from the Soul Gardener, which I will put her Instagram right here. And because my lemongrass isn't big enough to where I really want to pull from it. Also, I don't want to be pulling from it so much now too, because I use a lot of lemongrass stalks versus using lemongrass leaves. I love using the big stalks to be able to dice them up really, really fine and put them in my chicken soup. But I also want it to get bigger, and I don't want to be cutting on it when it's 100+ degrees. I'd rather let it grow and let it thrive before I start like chopping on it and cutting on it. But luckily, I did find lemongrass tea rings through the Soul Gardener. So these little guys are packed with a ton of different things that they can do. One of the major reasons why people use lemongrass is because lemongrass is very good at being an anti-cancer fighting medicinal herb. Now, it does that by eliminating a lot of the free radicals that form in your body that can create cancer cells. So whether it be majority of the cancer cells we're looking at are going to be ones that are found in your kidney or your liver, also helping reduce fatty liver too as well if you have that condition. It can slow down the progression of breast cancer by reducing those cells. And then one of the other really cool things that it can do is help with skin cancer and the prevention of skin cancer by using it and by ingesting it. So since I have digestion issues and I want to make sure that I do not develop anything like a fatty liver, coming from a family with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high everything in my family history, I want to make sure that I'm maintaining good health by taking care of my inner gut. And then also with Mr. Benson, he likes to drive a Jeep with no windows, no doors, no roof, just direct sun in the middle of the Arizona summer. So I want to make sure that his skin is taken care of too as well. So you can use lemongrass for that. When we're starting to look at lemongrass as ingesting it, it also helps as a really good diuretic too as well. Side effect, lemongrass will make you pee. But it does get rid of a lot of things that are just in your body. So it really does clean out the liver, really does clean out the kidneys, and it helps with getting a lot of bacteria out of your body. Now, with getting that bacteria out of your body, for women that are breastfeeding, this is also a really great herb for you. Now, I will say, if you are pregnant, do not drink lemongrass, because lemongrass can induce menstruation, so it can lead to miscarriages. But after you have had your baby safely and baby's all healthy, then you can drink lemongrass tea in order to increase the blood flow in your body and increase your milk production if you're breastfeeding. And it'll also get rid of a lot of the bacteria and free radicals in your body, so then therefore when you're breastfeeding, that is going to be healthier milk that you are passing to baby. Now, along with getting rid of a lot of the bacteria, it also works with yeast too as well. So any type of yeast infections or bacterial infections in your lady bits, or if you've had a vaginal delivery, then you can do a sitz bath where you put just basically boil this down. So what I do is I always have just a French press. I made some lemongrass tea earlier, so I have a little lemongrass ring in there. And then I just pour some hot water in it from my kettle. And the nice part is you can make a big batch of it and use it for different things. So all you do is let it steep. And as you can see, it still had a little bit of water in it, so it's kind of like a greenish, brownish color. And then once it's done steeping, I just push it down and then pour it out. Now I can take this lemongrass tea and drink it, which is what I did earlier with a little bit of honey. Or I can also put it in a sitz bath. So you can put a little bit of Epsom salt, a little bit of dried roses in here too as well, because it also helps with being antibacterial and antimicrobial. Pour that in there, and then you can sit in it a little bit. So if you just had a baby, or if you have a yeast infection or anything like that, that's something else that can help with your lady bits. Or you can also use it for your hair. Now, one of the other things that lemongrass does is it helps with stimulating just circulation and blood flow. So for those of you guys that are experiencing dry scalps right now because it's dry in the desert and everybody has dandruff, this is a great rinse for your hair. So not only can you drink it and have a nice cup of tea, but you can put it in a spray bottle or a squirt bottle, and after you're washing your hair, you can rinse your hair with it, and it'll help reduce the dandruff in your hair by giving your hair a lot of hydration. So this is really good for hair growth because it'll create that blood flow and help that kind of really get in there, and then also it will rehydrate your skin cells. So it does a lot for lots of parts of your body. Now let's talk flu and cold season, because that's what a lot of people are worried about, especially right now with the pandemic going on. Now, what I like to use lemongrass for is to help also with my asthma. I do have the asthma, and it's usually seasonal asthma, so usually when there's allergens in the air, then I start getting asthma attacks, and before I started going on my herbalist journey, it would turn from asthma to bronchitis. Yay, lucky me! Nah. So what I did is I will take lemongrass and I will boil hot water, like really, really hot water, and then I will take the lemongrass, throw it into the pot, and then I will inhale the steam that's coming from it. After I do that and it clears up the mucus, then I let the water cool and then I drink it, so that then that benefits of the antimicrobials gets into my bronchial tubes to make sure I don't get an infection, aka bronchitis. So that has helped a lot, and I've seen a huge difference with how my asthma has progressed and or not progressed over the years of me doing this. So it provides a lot of vitamin C in your body too as well, so it will help with just keeping you healthy overall during flu and cold season. The other thing it can do as well is also reduce fever by increasing the circulation and making your body sweat, which will then cool you down and reduce any type of fever. So all in all, lemongrass is just an amazing, amazing thing to have. But what if you can't get someone to drink lemongrass tea like me? Mr. Benson hates tea altogether, so therefore he's never gonna drink it. So how can I use this in order to get him to ingest it? And basically one of my favorite ways is to make a broth. So I'm gonna grab all the ingredients that I'm gonna make from my chicken stock, and then I'm gonna be back and show you guys how I do it. Okay, so I think I have everything. So I'm going to make my broth in my pressure cooker. So if you guys don't have a pressure cooker, I highly suggest the Ninja. I will link this one down below. But it pressure cooks, it air fries, it broils, it sautés, it does everything. And it would make my broth to the consistency that I want it to be and the flavor that I want it to be in like an hour. So it took me from creating stuff for hours on end and just throwing it in here. And even like my lamb shakes, if you guys watch my IG and follow me on there, then you'll see that I can make my lamb shanks in an hour in one of these, and they're perfect. But getting back to my lemongrass chicken broth. So now is the time that everybody goes into my fridge and they go, why do you have chicken feet? And I like to use chicken feet with my broth because it adds a lot of collagen to your skin and to your body. So I use chicken feet, a mixture of chicken feet, and then also chicken legs, just so that I have the meat. Now I'm starting with 8 cups of water. And now I already have 4 cups of water in there. And so I'm gonna add another 4 cups. And then I'm gonna add all of my chicken and my chicken feet. And I'm gonna take a second and go wash my hands. So I like to wash my hands after handling any type of raw meat, just because, you know, there's bacteria in raw meat. So now I'm going to take a bunch of pepper. I really never measure anything. I just kind of sprinkle it in there until it looks good. Pepper is really good for asthma too as well, and for any type of phlegm out of your lungs. So typically when I make a broth, I use a lot of pepper, whether I'm using one with ashwagandha root, which is typically what I use before flu and cold season, or lemongrass when I'm trying to make sure we don't get any bacteria into our body. So I'm going to take a dash of a kosher salt. And this one is a coarse kosher salt. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like white on white. And then I'm going to take my lemongrass and I'm going to put 2 of them in there because I don't want to make it super, super lemony. But but I do want it to have a nice lemon flavor. And then I like to pre-slice my onions and put them in the freezer. That's how I preserve things and keep things done really, really quickly. So I'm gonna take my onions and put those in there. Now the nice part about this is that since I used the chicken thighs, I'm going to be able to, or chicken legs, I'm gonna be able to not only have a broth, but then I'm gonna take that chicken and shred it and then use that in a soup later. So this is gonna make a couple mason jars of broth. So I'm going to use it for soups, and I can add more flavors to the soup, so more different herbs, more different seasonings to it as I go to the different soups and the different meals. But right now I want to get a nice base to where if I'm putting it in a lemon dish, I can add more lemon, or if I'm putting it in a savory dish, then I can add more tomatoes or something like that. And then I'm going to add some celery to it as well. And this is also celery that I grew. As we can see, it's the last bit of it, so it's starting to, I need to grow some more. So we're gonna add that in there, and then that's it. I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna put it into my pressure cooker, and I'm gonna let it pressure cook for an hour. And then once it pressure cooks for an hour, then I'm gonna let it cool down, and then I'm gonna strain it through a strainer, and I'm going to put it into my mason jars, and then just simply put the mason jars into the freezer. Now, some people don't like putting glass in the freezer. I get that. You can also put it into ice cube trays and put it, freeze it into ice cube trays, put it in a Ziploc bag. But I'm really careful. I have a shelf in my freezer that's dedicated to mason jars, so I just simply wait till everything cools down really, really well, stick it in there, and I'm good to go. So I hope that that was a lot of information for you guys about lemongrass. Lemongrass is such an amazing herb, guys. Like, it's one medicinal herb that if you don't have anything in your garden, I know I said that about aloe, but if you guys don't have anything in your garden, put lemongrass in there. You know, whether it be for fighting cancer, anxiety, health benefits for your stomach, or just skin or anything like that, or hair, it is an amazing medicinal herb to have in your garden, and you're gonna be happy that you have it in there if anything happens. So until next time, make sure you guys grow yourselves a garden, because even a small space can provide you with tons of food. Bye guys.